greatest form of control is where you think you're free when you're being fundamentally manipulated and dictated to. One form of dictatorship is being in a prison cell and you can see the bars and touch it. The other one is sitting in a prison cell but you can't see the bar, you think you're free. What the human race is suffering from is mass hypnosis. We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Redfield Hardcore TV show. And as always, I'm your host, V. I have an extraordinary guest for you today. This man that I speak of is a chemtrail activist, or I should say anti-chemtrail activist, just as I am, just as most people I work with, because it's a heinous crime that is actually being perpetrated on mankind and no one knows any better, sadly enough. And these things have to be talked about. We all need our forums. We all need to get educated on geoengineering, chemtrails, whatever you want to call it. It's Skynet on so many levels here. As if I have any viewers watching this that are regulars, you know all about what I'm speaking of. So the spotlight goes to Robert Deutsch today. How are you doing, Robert?
Well, I'm all right. Good evening, folks. How are you today?
I am doing swell.
Thanks for having me on, B. Let's get the word out. So to go.
Absolutely. And so you are a chemtrail activist. I mentioned this. I've actually seen an interview that you did on another radio show. I was actually quite impressed. You know, you seem like a regular Joe, and you just sit in this radio station talking to this talk show host, and you know, you're putting on a good show. You're talking about all the things that people should be concerned about, and showing the interest in what's going on that everyone should be doing. So I want to know, how did you get on that radio show?
Well, I asked. I was in Byron Bay, Australia, and I'd given a talk over at Seep Center. And I spent 3 days in Byron, and one of my friends there, David, peace, one love, peace, mate. And I tried to get on a radio show and be called a radio host that does those type shows where we talk about open issues. And it's a national radio show, Bay FM, wonderful place. And, well, and the host does not believe in chemtrails. That did that day and told me in advance, so I knew which route to go. We would ask the usual questions, and I was on point. We do get asked the usual questions. I can address them straight away, instantly. So, you know, what do you say when somebody doesn't believe in chemtrails? I say, well, that's okay. They're going to kill you anyhow. You know, it's a good thing I believe in it, and I'm going to research it. What I'm going to show you people this evening will be some of the litigation involved in actually doing it, and who's doing it. The United Nations, very specifically, is governing this program, and it's voted on by all the nations. And I must say that the United States did opt out, but they're going to be forced to do it anyhow because they got outvoted. So it is an imposed, non-consensual program. I do not consent for another country that doesn't govern mine. Just spray something that's going to come over the top of me that's not disclosed openly. And I'm not allowed to independently verify. I'm not allowed to just walk into any plane with sampling equipment for the air to see exactly what's going in my lungs, what's going in the lungs of the cabin crew, pilots, that are repeatedly being toxified on these tarmacs. Because the tarmac pollution is horrible. It really, really is. The more flying I do. Yeah, but Byron, it was a wonderful show and opportunity. That's how I got on that.
And so, did you make him a believer? Did you get it? I mean, I watched the show, like I said, and it seemed like, I mean, he was asking very good questions, and you're making very excellent, valid points. Did he walk away as a believer?
Well, in all fairness, I'm not 100% sure. I know I showed him the evidence. You know, you can lead the horse to water, so to speak, but you cannot make them drink. You know, there wasn't a single question he posed to me that I couldn't answer openly and with evidence. So yeah, it's when you got an official state radio station, you're gonna get the state line, ain't you? Even if the person believes it, is he allowed to say anything else? It's like the gag orders going on today across England over this lad. We're not allowed to speak about Alfie right now. They're cracking down on us very hard for doing it because it's a parent rights issue. It's going beyond just a child. And so these policies that come over radio stations from the hosts and stuff are very imposed by stations, I feel. Not that I don't ever have a memo that says that or anything. I'm sure you run into terrible censorship trying to get up feeds. I know I do. They'll interrupt me all the time. And I'm prepared with my phone right now in case they cut this Skype conversation off, and I'll come straight back on. Believe that. Call straight back in. Because it often happens when I do, you know, open information shows like that.
Yes. Well, yeah, the censorship is very terrible. I've actually, for the first time, have not been able to have my guests see me. I've got so many cameras and the feedback. After, you know, a week of post-production, things like this, I'm being told, oh, wait, some equipment's not working. Well, what else is new? And because of the constant censorship that's being imposed, I mean, most of our devices are offline most of the time because we have to work offline in order for anything to work. And when we get right back online, oh, you want to do a show today? We'll just go ahead and destroy one of these features, and we'll destroy that. And it's only going so slow because we do have independent cameras, and we're recording everything. You know, this is not going to be a situation that's not going to result in a lawsuit. Yeah, I may be truther, and you know, I may be truther media, but I'm also media, and the First Amendment states specifically, even if they don't want to give the right to individuals, their censoring upon myself and people like you is highly illegal. And so, yeah, absolutely, people need to go ahead and speak out. If you're censored while you're speaking out, definitely get to the medias that will talk to you. And hey, you know, let it be known, I'm connected with many of other truther media hosts. You know, I'm all across Radio Land. I've got friends everywhere. And we're joined together, you know, their evidence upon my evidence, and hey, if we got to make this an international court issue, that's exactly what we'll do.
That's how it goes, you know. You get the salute, man. It's not just all for one and all, one for all. It's just all for the planet. And, you know, just because your camera isn't showing you, well, with the name V, isn't V all of us? Isn't it any of our faces?
Absolutely. Anyone can be V.
I have to just go being me. I gotta be a real person with a real issue that I'm happy to talk about anyway. Well, I'm unhappy to talk about it. I wish I didn't have to. But in all fairness, I will talk to anybody, any place, any time about this issue and why I feel this way. And if they say something to debunk it, I want to see their proof. You know, if you've got cabin air tests on you, I'd like to see those. If you've got tree core samples with the metals in which years they started, I want to see those. You know, these type of researches are already out there. Can we have the information, please? And then can we be allowed to talk about it? You know, I don't know about you, but I got punished severely for being dishonest. I'd go to my room, and you catch a smack back in my days. And now I'm getting punished again and catching a smack for being honest. It's very confusing, isn't it? And I will not be silent when they're killing us. I just can't. Excuse me, I'm just suggesting something. Yeah, I just will not be silent in the face of our oppressors. You know, look what they're doing to us. They're killing us. This toxins in the sky. The toxins going in our bodies through the vaccine profit program, in the forced state policy of sale, or the creating of a pharma-dollar, because oil is being phased out. You know, where is the next loan going to come from? Because we're the collateral, our lives. And I'm just not going to sit and watch it. I'm going to watch the satellite images every day, and I see the chemtrails and the chem bomb, they're choking out cities. And hearing the people messaging me about their burning eyes, and their chests are hurting, and they can't breathe, and they've had pneumonias constantly for years now, one after the other. How can we be silent seeing these things? Where are the statistics that are being honestly recorded and delivered to us by a non-Murdoch controlled media base? Yeah, I went there.
Yeah, I just call it, you know, what the CIA calls it, it's Operation Mockingbird. People understand, yes, your media is being controlled by special interests, and that's something that people are always going to hear from me. There's people that understand that, and there are people that are just going to be shoveling in whatever they're fed. And, you know, I'm not going to be one of those people, and I'm pretty sure there are other people that feel the same way as I do. Honestly, I wouldn't have a TV show if I didn't.
Most of us are about sick of it anyway. I mean, when posting a picture of chemtrail over Istanbul with a dust storm behind it saying, look at the guilt in the video, is a crime that cost me my Facebook for near a month. Yeah, it gets me followed on planes with military people next to me to keep me away from the windows, so I won't film.
Really?
Yeah, oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Fly. Oh, I'm a blast to fly with now. The window seats.
Well, you know, I don't fly anymore. Simply because I don't support it, and I know these people one day might just, you know, anybody they don't like, they'll just crash a plane. So it's nothing but cruise ships for me.
Will there have to be a patent involved for them to do that? There's got to be free coops on that one. It's just for little old me. I think wouldn't it be quick for them to just fly one of their little pollinator drones, give me a jab of something incredibly lethal, blame it on the Russians or something.
Blame it on the Russians. Yeah, I love that part too, because the Russians have always been the scapegoat for American special interest and intelligence operations.
Well, props up the nuclear industry.
You know, I believe them more if they said the boogeyman. If the boogeyman did I would be more apt to pay taxes to fund their BS covert operations than to say the Russians did it. Sorry, the Russians did not put Trump in office. There's no hacking. What people don't understand is the Russians have gone back, their intelligence agents have gone back to using typewriters because the NSA is so up there, you know what's, okay? And
meanwhile, don't they have that area all cordoned off in London? What could they be planning to do there now? They've got a whole month to do whatever. You know, they got to bring the whole block down. Neve's biggest dream, isn't it?
Well, and what do you know? These people, oh God, don't get me started on the airports. The last time I went through an airport, these people tried their best. Now, I'm not sure if I've told the story. I've told the story on my radio show, but I'm not sure if I told the story on the TV show here. People, if you're unfamiliar with me and my past, I'm here in Poland right now. I'm broadcasting from Poland, and that's, you know, that's where I'm going to be. I'm the Fresh Prince of Broslov, as they say. And
from the block.
And yeah, I'm at the airport. I'm trying to get over here from America. I actually go to the San Francisco airport because I was in California. And lo and behold, I get in the doorway in line with all my huge heavy bags because, you know, this is the final move for me. And I have one of these police officers on their little hover around, whatever you call those things, segways, and asked me, "Sir, I didn't see your ID." "Really? For what?" "Oh, well, you look like a person who, there's an abandoned vehicle outside. You look like a person that parked there." "Really? You mean there's another black guy in this airport wearing a red bandana, long black trench coat, basically an all black with giant military bags? There's another one of me in this airport." "Sir, we just want to see you." "No, I know what you're doing. It's a delay tactic. I'm almost late for my plane as is. And, sir, I just need to see your ID." You know, another one rolls up, another one of these airport rent-a-cops, whatever you want to call them. These weren't even TSA. Actually, this was the actual police department.
I'm curious because I'm seeing them all over the world now. The G4S, Bill Gates' private police force that he's bringing in after they defunded all the world police and made crime go all the crap. Problem or reaction solution is the G4S.
Well, then the guy's like, "Okay, well, another one rolls up. Sir, is there a problem here? When you see your ID, you could be this person." "Look, a friend dropped me off here. It's not possible for that to be my vehicle. Sir, we just want to... Look, I am the host of a radio show. Do you know who I am?" No. "Okay. I'm a host of a radio show that exposes corruption, government corruption. Now, do you want to continue this conversation?" They both looked at each other like Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Drove off on their little segways and had a little meeting, a little powwow with the other airport pigs there, and excuse me, police officers, and it was like 10 of them. They just started amassing like a blood clot. I know as Jamaicans say, "bubba clot boys." They just started amassing up. They all looked at me, and I looked right back at them. It's like they had a football huddle, and one drives back towards me and says, "Sir, we just want to see your ID." I says, "You want to know who I am? You can ask the lady at the desk after I check in. See you later." But after they, screwed off, that was just the beginning of my trials and tribulations there in the airport. But you gotta tell these people, you know your rights, and to
poke the hornet's nest unless I'm having my suit on. One of those things. If they ask you for my ID, I just quickly give it to them. They'll leave me alone. I can finish smoking my bag. They'll quickly see I don't even own a car because I opt out of the system. Oh, what?
Well, no, I've always got to challenge. Always got to challenge BS when I hear it, when I see it, when I have to be harassed by it. You got to challenge that BS. Now,
well, there is times and places, but my freedom to travel has to be on. I can't interfere with it. I've got to be able to go from place to place and meet wonderful people like you. I'd love to meet one day as I'm traveling. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be going across Europe this soon. So maybe we can meet up at some point and talk. Well, there's no devices about it.
You're in England, I'm in Poland, we're very close.
Well, I'm not going to be here much longer. I've got to go to Turkey because I've got a second pressing of my poetry book that I've got to get a hold of, get my hands on it. I've got to sign copies and leave behind and get money from and things like that, businessy stuff. I got to go over to Lisbon in Portugal because I'll be doing some work with Depop Free, the website and stuff, where I'll have a geoengineering section on there that I'll be putting my work on. So I'm trying to get off Facebook. When they pulled my account for a month, I have changed my strategy. I had to think, what am I going to do now? They're taking my live feeds away. I don't trust YouTube because it's one of the heads saying snake. So I had to start recording stuff myself as offline as possible. You know, just get the basic links going, use technology. I'd use a carrier pigeon with a camera if I could get one trained right. You know, it's because I think we're headed there.
We've got to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Robert Deutsch's book and his chemtrail activism.
Hello, I'm B from the Red Pill Hardcore TV show, and I'm here to deliver a message to you. I am standing up, and I think you guys should stand up too. What are we standing up for? Clean air. The New World governments have been spraying aluminum, strontium, barium, all kinds of nanoparticulates, salts, heavy metals, and we are losing our environment. We have trees with aluminum toxicity. Our wildlife is disappearing, one species at a time. We have weather warfare weaponry. If there is anything such as global warming, well, we have ionospheric heaters that's dramatically bombarding our atmosphere. All this damage can be done to the environment by these nanoparticulates being sprayed into the atmosphere. We know that it's causing respiratory issues. We know that it's causing autism. We know that it's causing Morgellons, the transhumanistic disease. What else is it doing? I think it may just be altering our minds. Watch my movie, and then you decide.
And yes, we are back from commercial break, and I do apologize if some of these videos are, you know what, no, I don't apologize, because you guys need to see the stuff, okay? As gruesome as they are, this is reality, and you gotta do it reality on reality's terms. You can't just turn your head and look away. So yes, these brutal police brutality videos are going to be something I'm going to be shoving in everyone's faces. You don't like it? Watch the show. But anyhow, I still have Robert Deutsch with me, and we are going to talk about, well, I would get more into your chemtrail activism, because that's what I have you on the show for.
Okay, can you see this, what I've got on? This is today. This is the 27th of April. This is our planet. It is not a blue planet anymore, is it? To look at this
Absolutely
picture
not.
here in front of us, it is not a blue planet, and I don't accept that. And even if I go into, let's say, this is right here off the coast of the United States, right here. This is fairly blue right here, isn't it? Right? Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Well, I've seen the NASA pictures, and the world has turned from this bright blue and green orb to this matted gray orb. I've seen these pictures. None of these new pictures are, being made available so much these days. Even if they are, they're being doctored by the government, and the globe is really sickly looking.
If you look over here, this is Texas. This is Houston. We have a problemville right here. If you look at these plumes, and I say plumes, not everything that's delivered anymore is done with jet plane. I've got to say that. You have deployments that are done with balloons. You have artillery, which means you can have a gondola firing off, if you will, like Roman candle type things that will effervesce and catalyze in the atmosphere to form clouds of various kinds, or make ice crystals that refract light, but they're chemical ice. It's not natural, pure water ice when people say ice crystals. It's not. When I say ice crystals, I mean this nucleated madness crap that's been put in our lungs. And you can see electromagnetic frequency through here, and here, and here. It's really heavy. We're getting absolutely fried. And when that 5G comes in, this is going to be horrible. Look at this chemtrail line right here. It's a big plume line, and it's reacting side to side. See how these waveforms come off. Some people used to call them Tesla waves. If you're familiar with Alana Freeland's work.
Absolutely.
Scale dominance, this is actual evidence of these plasma clouds that I could show you.
Absolutely.
If you look at an area like this, no jet plane came over here. The stuff is already in the atmosphere. This stuff is floating over. It's estimated it's going to take over 3 years to fall out if they stop or don't use measures to knock it out of the sky, lasers and stuff. So all this is just nucleated with energy, electromagnetic frequency. I call them microwave popcorn clouds. And you look at the straight lines that you're seeing here. I know there's probably a lake here, yeah, because a lake will sometimes make a gap in EMF. This is probably a fire. It's got that color to it. Because we have to consider all these factors, or whether it's a power plant injecting moisture, like what you would probably see here through the Mississippi Valley. Look at these plumes in this one line. Something came along and deployed. Boom, 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 boom. And they all effervesce at the same time. This is a military-type deployment. And I have a document here. I'm just going to go to, it's from the Paris Climate Agreement of 2016. And if you go to, I believe it's page 8, I'll look down here. No, page 7, you'll see sulfur aerosol injection. And it says right here, potential delivery vehicles for stratospheric sulfur dioxide injection include aircraft, artillery shells, stratospheric balloons, hoses suspended from towers. They propose a lot more chemicals than just this to make these aerosols. What they're trying to do is make sulfuric acid. It says it right here. They're trying to mimic a volcano through the injection of gases such as sulfur dioxide or another gas, says quite clearly there, another gas, which is not disclosed. That could be, sarin for anything I think of. What gas is that? I can come up with horribleness that will ultimately react chemically in the stratosphere to form sulfate aerosols. They're mimicking a volcano. Some guy with a convenient name of Caldera is recommending we put stuff that makes a huge volcano so it blocks the sun. Their ultimate goal. What could possibly go wrong if we take sunlight away from the oceans and the phytoplankton and all the plants? What could go wrong? I'll tell you what's going wrong. They're dying is what's going wrong, and it's happening. Marine cloud brightening, when you see these trails over the seas, they're using ships. Ocean, possible gases, and the plumes I'm seeing from this one on the research, I don't have the graph actually pulled up, is they're getting a 100-mile wide plume 10 miles from deployment site. That's big. That's big. Excuse me, kilometers. Okay, I get them mixed up, but that's half as much. But it's still 5 miles is 50 miles wide. That's a big plume from one deployment, and that's what they predict when they're showing stuff like this out here. How much of a plume can I make from one of these? That's every bit of 100 miles. That'll be every bit of that wide that I just said, 50 miles. Because I got a graph right here, it shows 10 kilometers to the inch. This is exactly between Vicksburg and Jackson right here, over Mississippi. And this is criminal, and it's headed this way. They're brewing up a storm with all this energy. It's all in place. They've drawn something out here in the Gulf. Looks like right about out here, just near the Florida Panhandle. you can see this mess they've set up. So this is all set up for a start, or to take moisture away. There's no other way to put it. It's blocking our sunlight, and it's criminal. And we are breathing this. It's going in our bodies. The stuff we're picking up on soil samples is like, there was another really bad place I looked at. You know, North Carolina was getting fried. You know, but if we go to, like, this is the biggest freshwater water supply on the planet. It's known as the Great Lakes. And this is Lake Erie. And it looks a bit eerie, don't it? This massive crap is settling in this water and in these fisheries. And if I zoom in here, you can see the chemtrails. I'll let that focus for you. See it, Mom? See all the chemtrails out here? The deployments of some kind of thing from a central point has launched something out this way that is catalyzing in the atmosphere as proposed in this document here. Right up here on page 7. Where I had that outline, just right here. It says they're going to do it, and they're doing it. Artillery shells, right here. Plain as day. That paragraph right there, beginning of page 7, first paragraph, bottom line. There it is. Plain as day. They said what they're going to do. There's the balloons that I keep talking about, listed right here. And they're doing it to us. And they gave our consent blind, didn't I? You know, you mentioned Poland earlier. I'll have a look over there in a minute. But look at these trails over here, over the Great Lakes. This is unacceptable, man. We can't be silent on this anymore. These are not naturally occurring cloud formations. Chemtrails are beyond real. They're litigated. It's litigated. It's funded by us through our United Nations donations into these green funds and taxes, or these extra security things. I looked at a flight the other day, and it was $500, and 400 of it was taxed. So they only have to write off for the corporation for their flights a certain amount of money, you know, 100, and the rest is taxes. They just don't give to themselves. Look at that chemtrail. No, sorry. If this was a naturally occurring chemtrail, this would have dissipated before all this picture was taken. There's nothing moving from here to here in a minute, 30 seconds, while this satellite image is being taken. And all these side-by-side formations, nah, rubbish. It's just all plain. The site I'm using is NASA Worldview. It's the only image really that I use. Our oppressors give us this tool, and well, I love to use our oppressors' tools to break their machine, put a gear in their machine, if you will. Look at the EMF, like I was talking about earlier, this plasma nucleation out here, inside of a plume. Something's deployed, like a percussion ring of an explosion, going out the two sides from a central point. And I film these all the time on the Australian BOM feed of their actual live satellite image. I show them being deployed all the time. Look at the square edges here. You know, when you see squares in storms, you know, I zoom back. I'm going to pretty much anything. This one's headed toward the UK. And we don't see perfectly round funneling vortexes anymore. We see this. The eye of Horus, if you will. We see these square edges of folding using EMF, electromagnetic frequency. You know,
it's weather warfare.
When you turn here,
it's weather control.
This is, yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. This is in the English Channel right now, headed our way. We've been covering this for a few days, and the energy over here is well in place. You can see all this. Look at that EMF lines.
You know, and you are very enlightened to say that, you know, these are EMF lines, because people, you need to understand something. The HARP frequencies, the HARP signals, these things propagate. Okay, you can see, go outside and look at your sky. When you see that water ripple, like you just dropped a pebble in a pond, and you see that ripple effect all across the sky, that's HARP weather control. That's HARP weather modification. Now, I want to point out, what's the modification for? Oh, poor countries, third world countries are getting poorer. Why? Because they're seeing more and more droughts. That's a fact. Kenya, I just did an episode with a guy from Kenya who had the charity for his children. his country is used to seeing 2 years, 2-year increments of droughts. Now it's 10 years since this technology has come about. We're talking about the systematic wiping out of, well, let's just call it ethnic cleansing. That's the
it's the coal, isn't it?
That's the coal. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to get more into this because I do have another guest that's going to come on this show to talk about weather warfare. I want to shoot all my entire load here. But this thing is...
I just spoke Kenya up while you were talking, so I'm just kind of...
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
This is a big square of EMF here. Look at this field of EMF right here. This is stealing their water. When you put this much chem in the air, you have so many particles that the water droplets will never get big enough to fall. They have too many pieces to cling to. And you can take this EMF and push them together and make the droplets fall wherever you want. And since water is the new gold, and it's been touted as such, we could take these forested areas of Africa over here, through this belt, and take this water, and we bring it over here, and we mix it with this water, and then we send it up under Africa, and they send half of it up here, and the other half comes here, rains this way, and they keep circulating the globe. If they heat it up on its way down, it will melt a lot of ice. And, well, it makes a lot of funding, don't it? But yeah, this Africa is, it's scandalous. The droughts here in South Africa are heavily chemtrail and EMF induced. This is almost their entire country covered in a plume right here. This is unacceptable that the IMF is strangleholding them with loans and then stealing their water and droughting them out. You got a war against farmers and genocide going on over there, and they're turning it into a dust bowl. What's here? Gold, diamonds, what could possibly be at stake there? It ain't oil. What's here in Zambia with this big old blast out here over there? They're forested areas. This is unacceptable use of EMF over this population, over the forest. How dare us? It creates free radicals in the bodies of the animals as well. It's not just us that are coughing it. They're breathing this and eating it on their leaves. They're probably going away sooner because they're actually not washing their beds. They're just eating these leaves that have got all this crap on it. I find it unacceptable. And yeah, Kenya is looking horrible. Absolutely horrendous. Let me get back over to it. I was zooming too far south. I was just having a look at how bad they were getting fried. I was looking at these plumes over here, over the top. So this is at a different altitude than the other ones, because you can see the microwave popcorn clouds underneath this plume here. So this is higher up than that. Something else has been deployed. You can see in the haze here, just barely, a square. You see squares here. So they're using HARP-type devices for creating square energy with NexRads, because a NexRad can make a square too. I've filmed it many times in the United States.
It's not natural.
Satellite.
It's not natural.
No, it's not natural. Vortexes swirl. Vortexes curve. Things will naturally round off. Put big blocks of ice in a river, well, you'll find them turning around. After they spin enough times, they will just naturally turn and melt evenly. So these things, when you see squares in nature, it's the obvious signature of geoengineering. I call it, look at geoengineering, square in the eye. You come out here, you see square form.
Well, it's kind of like how Richard C. Hoagland says, geometry, geometry, geometry. Straight lines and right angles don't occur naturally in nature. There's an obvious influence of something human or of intelligent design.
Yeah, there's been an outside interference of not Mother Nature's design here. Look at these straight edges here on this particular cloud map. And I'll call it a cloud. But the conditions that made it form were man-made. They made that happen. They made these plumes happen with this magnetic particulates. There was material. Look at the crap here. I'm trying to behave. I'm going to stop showing in a minute. I promise I wouldn't swear. I'm going to behave. Because there's better words like wrong. Wrong is wrong. There's no degrees of wrong. Once you step over the line, you are either wrong, and then when you see something wrong, you have to make it right. There's no other choice. When you see fields of EMF like this, flying an entire ocean, and you wonder why whales can't navigate in beach, I don't wonder. And I blame us. I blame us every time, because each one of these is a square. And you go in. Squares. Squares. know, the whole ocean covered with squares. Energy. That's not a little bit of space there. That's thousands of square miles. Thousands. Being poisoned by electromagnetic frequency. I think 5G is bad. These big blasts coming off of these super dark devices and various other arrays down here in Antarctica, they ain't playing. Some of these islands here, they're specifically placed to control weather. You said Poland. I want to have a big you're over here. Oh my goodness, you guys got fried today. Look at the lines here.
Actually, you know, I want to stop you there and tell you, I stepped outside today, and I stepped outside the studio, and seeing the sky was covered with chemtrails or geoengineering lines, whatever you want to call it. And Poland's a beautiful country, and I want to tell you, when it's a beautiful day outside, you should see nothing in the sky. You know, a cloud here, a cloud there, but completely blanketed. Now, Poland is a country where it's always cold. Harsh winters and this sort of thing. The clouds are always thick in the sky. You know, there's hardly ever a sunny day during the fall, winter, and early spring. These cold places all over the planet are really getting the chemtrails without anybody seeing it. It's worse in the areas that are always cloudy. You know, I lived in California for 7 years, and the sunny state, well, it was always a grid pattern over the sky, the chemtrails.
This speaks for itself, what I've just been showing. I don't need to say a word. This is the This is the chemtrails. These are the oceans. This is the EMF signatures here. Zzz, getting fried. Microwave doors open. Look at the lines.
It looks like a Doppler radar. If you look at that, the area that you just
full signature.
Look at that.
Here, and it definitely has an epicenter. So I would suspect there's a ship here because I'm also seeing an epicenter wave from here as well. So the ship has been moving in this area. That's what Occam's razor would tell me. That's the most logical explanation, the simplest one. See the pulse pattern? So something here has emitted a waveform. But the chemtrails have been in place to be dispersed by this electromagnetic frequency, and these lines are horrendous. This is England. Well, Scotland. Come on. Practicing that much today, are they? Putting all these lines all over?
Well, I want you to go back to that area where you see the pulse. Go back to that area. I want to let people in on a little secret here. That is a hit where it's either a jet plane has gone through there, a military aircraft that let off a signal to disperse these clouds in a certain area, or it's satellite technology. We all know this is.
I think this one's a satellite pop.
I think it's a satellite.
The circle here is very distinct. It's a square here in the center, but it's definitely an atmospheric dimple, like you're talking about, where you can heat it, bubble it, and then let it go. And it'll make a wave like that, the ripple in the pond, like you were talking about. There's a chemtrail line here being dispersed. You can see it there, but its pulse pattern is definitely a waveform. And this was early in the pulse, because it would have been more after that. That's actually a slam bust. Yeah, but I'm going to agree with you on that. I would kind of go space-based on that. But it is possible a ship with an X-ray can do that, heat directly above it, and pulse and pop it, like a speaker, if you will. A low sound pulse. Right. Those poor fish underneath that. If anything, beaches because of this over on the coast over here. I'm going to be very angry. I'm going to blame that. Did you see this one over here?
You are a very wise man for saying that. On my radio show, I've talked about this, and people understand these whale beachings, these mass beachings, the mass birds dying in the sky. These aren't. Yes, it is biblical.
Yeah.
But
falling from the sky.
But this is done by scientific means. Okay, you got the Navy or any other naval, whatever country, U.S. Navy, British Navy, whatever, their sonic testing and other frequency weapon testing in the waters. This is why you have these mass beachings that the media has no answer for. Mainstream media has no answer for this. Okay? This is military weapons testing. This isn't, that, the sign of the times, and the apocalypse may be coming. The revelations may, in fact, be coming, but don't think that it's going to be of a supernatural nature, and that's simply not the case. The end time's coming because these people have gone mad with the power. Think of if you got a new toy that did all sorts of weird things. You're gonna press that toy to see what all it can do. The end of the world is coming up because we have these tiny, phallus, insecure, flesh-bought psychopaths who are not possessing a soul or any kind of human qualities that you have willingly in your weakness, in your uncaring, irresponsible nature, have given power over to. And this is the sign of the times, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead, Robert.
Absolutely. Oh no, I'm just absolutely horrendous. I'm gobsmacked. I'm sitting here, there's a field of chemtrails over the Black Sea. And over here, just north of Turkey. That's just blatant. That's not naturally. It could be magic runes written in the sky being performed. Black masses over the top of us. I very often see runes written in the sky. This is Turkey right here. This haze you're seeing here is dust. It's come from the Sahara over here. And it's come up, it's all over the top of this. I think they prepared it war already. Can't fly planes that well through dust storms, can you? Disables EMF as well. So from Italia over here, where the threats all are, Cyprus and all that, it's all just absolute madness. These poor people here, look at they're making them breathe. Look at this. This is just unacceptable. This is, I'm sorry, I look at this as an absolute attack on Turkey today. Turkey's gotten bombed by the United Nations. I call it like it is. They're litigating this program. I hold them responsible. And
absolutely.
So every politician, every representative from every country has to say no. This is not a backyard fight. This is a fight in the halls of every justice that we can get. We have to, every local place on the planet has got to send a representative that says no to this. And until that happens, we're going to cop it. This is what we're going to get. This whiteout.
That's complete whiteout.
They want the sun gone. They want the sun gone. They just do. They'll have factories inside warehouses growing our plants for us and whatever they say, and whatever seeds they say, and whatever kind of fertilizers they say, and then where's our vegetarian? Where can we eat healthy? When the rain is being poisoned even. You can't even eat my garden vegetables by the time the end of the year. They taste so bitter. Tomatoes, skin's all burned on and thick. Just not pleasant. When I see stuff like this, I get really upset. Because this is electromagnetic frequency. It's particle particulation. This is chemical warfare. They over there are trying to start a war over here, right? Syria. Because of some chemical weapon. Bullshit lie. Blamed on the Russians. When they put a chemical attack over half of Turkey to death. That's unacceptable. This is Istanbul over here. With these chemtrails all off the coast. Right here.
Okay, go slow with the scrolls because it takes a minute to render.
It's pixelating. Okay, yeah. This is Istanbul in the Black Sea, where I showed those chemtrails earlier. These ones here.
It's horrendous.
I see this massive crap. These people are breathing that.
And look at that. The EMF waves. It's so obvious. Why do people say, "Oh, the chemtrails don't exist"? This was not existing 50 years ago.
Yeah, I never seen clouds like this when I was a kid. The skies were so deep blue, not this hazed out stuff that you have to have sunglasses every time you're outside because of the glare, because of the photovitalics in this mix. And when the sunlight gets at certain angles on it, it will white it out. It just does. It's what it's designed to do. But it's not disclosed. And you can't tell me that's just some kind of crystal silver iodide that's doing that. There's other stuff in that mix, and I want to know exactly what it is. Oh, those tanks and stuff that they're storing in it being washed enough. You know, that square right there kind of says it all. It really does. From the ground, you wouldn't see it. You would have just seen a whited out mass of this crap. But from here, you clearly see the lines of frequency here. This is all, oh, it's all just EMF. I'll just call it what it is. I can't say exactly which, you know, low frequency, high frequency, is it HARP, is it ESCAT, is it this? I can just tell you, it is electromagnetic frequency.
Well, it's ELF.
This signature right here just says it all, don't it?
Oh, yeah. When you see the lines like that, that does not appear naturally in nature. It simply does not.
That's the strings of the harp being played. And we're the ones paying for the fiddler this time, ain't we, or the harpist?
Well, that's the thing that irritates me the most, is that the American taxpayers are paying for this. The bulk of this, what started this off, well, 9/11, ladies and gentlemen. And the other, you know, how much, I think $6 trillion went missing, and then another $6 trillion went missing from the Pentagon right after that.
Yeah, convenient office.
It lets you know where the New World Order really is. It lets you know where the New World Order really is.
Hillary's fired at her mansion. Trump Towers gets one during an investigation. Millions missing over there from Rumsfeld. Boom, just his office catches a hit from a plane at ground level that left no birds on the grass, and that nobody saw. And then the pictures of cruise missile look kind of cool, but you know, those type things we have to disregard those because it's the tinfoil hat conspiracy, you know, to tell the truth these days. Yeah, and it is just so convenient, isn't it, to just accept the Matrix steak, if you will. It tastes good. You know what? I'd rather have the gruel on the ship waking up others and pulling them out of the Matrix than to have that Matrix steak. I can't accept this planet looking like this. Look at the state of our mother. It's just can't.
I'm glad that you shared this information with us. I want to get into your book really quick. People, please, you know, we are activists, we are truthers, we are people who are not buying the BS from the New World Order, governments, whatever. We're not buying it. We're simply not. And you know, we've got a man of this caliber, Robert Deutsch. I'm pretty sure you've gone through your trials and tribulations, not just the censorship.
Excuse me, Mama. Well, it's cost me dearly in life. Nearly everything I've owned, marriage, house, all my belongings. But you know, the good is my stuff.
And I want people to buy your book to help support you and your good works. Let's talk about your book.
This is my book. It's called POECSTACY, and I wrote it. A beautiful tree of life on the front. And our past, present, and future, and how we're all intertwined. And it's got political stuff in it. Pop me out a number, and I'll go to a page. Anywhere up to 111.
77.
That was too depressing. 76 looks better. Let's face it, Spirit. This one's called You and Only You. Only you must walk the miles. Choose the path. Live your while. Know one thing, and it's a fact. Paths reconverge and often wind back. Nothing is clearly etched in stone. Seeking mud, you might find gold. While looking up, you might fall down. We often stumble on level ground. Only you can live your life. Choose a path and don't think twice. No matter what, know this as true. Life is lived by you and only you. By Robert M. Deutsch.
Let's do one more. I won't put you through the Illumitar test. What'd you put on page 33?
On page 33. I'm going to actually just, whatever it is, I'm just going to read it. It's called More Than We've Seen. Lying with you in aether, sharing what few others share, holding an essence infinite with bliss beyond compare, extending a rose that is timeless, breathing a scent that is love, lying in beds enchanted, yet filling our souls like a glove, lying with you in aether, making love with welcome intent, holding your essence infinite, as some things are not merely lent. Extension of self is timeless. Together we are more than we seem, lying on a bed of aether, as bliss lives outside of our dreams. I should have gone political on you. I'm gonna
Well, that was very. That's really good. I definitely appreciate that. I know my audience appreciates that. What's the name of your book? One more time.
It's called POECSTACY.
POECSTACY.
It's on eBay, actually. And if you go on there, it's £12.50 and a $5 shipping, because I got to ship it all over the world. Some places cost more, some places cost less. So I just evened it out to keep the prices down.
All right.
If you Google POECSTACY, kind of made my own word there. It'll come up on eBay. And I ship all worldwide. And I use the money to show the guilt.
All right.
It's a little better setup.
Well, we got to have you funded and touring and spreading this enlightenment to the rest of the world. So please, ladies and gentlemen, buy that book.
I also have a PayPal link as well. I'll give you if anybody wants to just help me do the work. That's great.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's a pleasure talking with you tonight, B. I know you have another guest coming up.
Hey, the activism chain, it links up, it keeps going, and it just doesn't stop. So I do appreciate you for being on the show.
It's been a pleasure. I've been wanting to do this for a while. And big love to everybody. And remember, it does take all of us to fix this. And every little bit you do is doing something. Even the smallest flap of a butterfly wing can create quite a storm. Biggest storm.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So, yes, this has been another episode of the Red Pill Hardcore TV show. And catch me next week for the next episode.
And I'm just going to take some snow right here. Just so you see, it's snow. It's real snow. Hadn't been tampered with, which hasn't been touched. It's just snow, okay? Or so they say it's just snow, but I'm not so sure after what I saw this morning. So I'm going to take this in here and show you guys what happens when you put a lighter to the snowball. Okay, so it should melt, right? Let's hold it up some. So okay, so let's see what happens. No melting. Still not a drip. Not one drip. It's actually smoking. See the black smoke? And then if you smell that, it smells like burnt plastic. And I honestly was skeptical of the videos I had seen that maybe the snowball had been tampered with, but you all saw I just went and grabbed it off of my deck.